For many people, going through the different seasons of life can be a lot to handle, and a change of environment, if not well handled, can be detrimental to a person's self-esteem and generally just their attitude towards life. This is why I did it, and today we take a look at the story of Angela. Join me. Hi, thank you. Very beautiful place you have here.
This is my parents' home. This is where we stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many minutes to Thika town?
Not more than 30. Yes.
So that is like your major shopping center?
Yes, but we have a small shopping center. It's called Gatokoyo. That's the marketplace. That's where we go to the market on Saturdays to get some fresh items. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So our interview today, hopefully it would take long.
Yes. Welcome. Feel at home.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's taken us a long way to get here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Tell us where we are right now.
Right now we're at a place called Mangu in Gatundu North. I'm sure many people have heard of Gatundu South, where the president is from.
Who's your MP in Gatundu North?
She's called Wanjiku Wakife. Actually, I think she's one of the few female MPs in Parliament.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now we're in Mangu. Yeah.
Nice to be in Mangu. So
welcome.
And this is which county?
Kiambu County. Yes, okay. Yeah.
So today we want to hear your story.
Yeah.
And let's just start from your childhood, a little bit about your childhood.
Okay.
We want to understand how your story came to be.
Okay. So I was born in 1995, October, in Thika. I've grown up in Thika to my mom and my dad. And I'm the second and last born. I have an elder brother who's 4 years older than me. So it was a happy childhood. My parents really worked hard to provide for my brother and I. My dad is an advocate and my mom was in the bank industry. So they really worked hard, to provide for us school fees, education was a must. There was no other way out. And I have happy childhood memories with my brother, of course, and with my parents. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and would you say that your family was close knit growing up?
Yes, because it was just only the four of us. I have memories where, since Thika was a small town, my dad occasionally, like once a month, would pick us up and he'd take us to Nakumatt Thika Road. From a small town, you're not used to seeing a big supermarket. So that was like, it was so fantastic. We just go out, maybe this horse rides, face painting, you do these dancing competitions on the weekends. You're taken for swimming, and church. I've been brought up Catholic. So church was a must. We used to go to church, and then you had to go for catechism, Sunday school. Yeah, so my family was
close-knit.
Yeah.
And so what was your attitude, or maybe for the rest of your family, towards drugs and alcohol?
Obviously, my dad is quite strict. So definitely, it was a no-brainer. Of course, no drinking, no drugs, and you have to read first. You have to get your education first, and then when you get to 18, now you're free to do whatever you want. But of course, they can never tell you now you can start drinking, now you can start smoking. Yeah.
So maybe let's talk about your high school.
High school. When I was in primary school, if I can start there, it was from class 6 to 8. It was a small school. It was just a new school. So we were the first candidates. So I was performing well. I was always on top. And I performed well. I went to a national school. So when I got there, I guess I got intimidated because now you meet top students from all over the country. Nationally, and then
from where they come from.
Yeah, and then you normally I'm an introvert, so I tended to be quite shy when I was younger. So I shied off, you know, when people were there, being outgoing, sports, leadership positions. Me, I was just there. So I got intimidated by the level of confidence that these girls had, and I was just like, whoa, as in, I just went under a shell, and I really had low self-esteem in high school. So that my first exams in high school, I didn't perform. You know, you're always used to being the top from where you're from. Now I come here,
Things are different.
things are very different. So that really lowered my self-esteem, and I never got to a place where I was like, okay, you know what, I can do this, I believe in myself. It was just very, very bad. But by the grace of God, I managed to get a B plane in KCSE, and yeah, I managed now to proceed to the university level.
So
Yeah.
as at this time, did your people around you, did they see the change?
So when I started experimenting, if I can call it that, in high school, you know, we used to have this holiday tuition thing where you go, people from other schools, now you go for tuition during the day, you know. So what used to happen, me and my friends back then, now the little money that we'd get would maybe sometimes, you know, you buy alcohol and then ile tu ya experiment. So there's a time during, I think I was in Form 2, and I'd been invited for a party. I'd already started making bad choices when it came to friends. So I was in Form 2, and I was already hanging out with people who are in campus or they have finished, you know, high school. So they invited me for a party, which was like, it was on a Saturday, I can remember. So my mom had gone to work, and she was supposed to come back like in the afternoon. We go to my aunt's place. So I decided I'll go for this party, maybe for 1 or 2 hours, and then by the time my mom comes back home, I'll be home. So unluckily I went and I drank. That was my first time to drink any excess. So I drank so bad, like like until I blacked out. So the thing that I remember from that day is I woke up and I was in hospital. And the first thing that I heard was my dad's voice. You know, he was like, you know, Mumbi, I'm so disappointed. So I'm like, whoa, the last time I was in a party, in a house full of people dancing and all that. Now I'm in hospital. So I was still drunk and still not 100%. So my parents took me home. And then I remember now I woke up kabisa like around 4 in the morning, and then I'm like, wait, that was a bad dream. Hey. I thought it was a dream, and then I'm in a dark room, so I realized it was my room. And then I touched my hand. I had a bandage, you know, because they'd given me the drip. Yeah. So I'm like, wow, kumbe, it was true. So the next morning, you know, my mom is like, what happened? You have to be careful. So that experience, I felt bad and embarrassed about what happened, and I didn't want to disappoint my parents. So from that time, from Form 2 to Form 4, I really avoided that group of friends. I stopped drinking.
If I can just interrupt, what would you say was the reason you were hanging out with people who were older than you?
I'd say I wanted to fit in. Now you see, in school, I'm not fitting in. I'm not in the, if I can say, the it girls, the ones who are always on top, they're performing well, all the teachers know them, they're captains. So I'm not there anymore now, you see. But at home, at least I can fit in with, you know, because when you tell people you're in a national school, they're like, well, you know, so at least, I have like a bit of status from that home. So I really wanted to fit in, and at the same time I didn't have an identity, so I wanted to do whatever seemed cool. So I just went with the coolest people at that time.
So now going back to school after that incident,
it really traumatized me, because I knew I've always been a daddy's girl. So my dad was so disappointed and I knew that I'd hurt my parents so bad. So I just felt bad, terrible about the whole situation. So it also put me emotionally in a bad state, because I didn't know who to talk to, and because, you know, in everyone's eyes you did wrong, you embarrassed the family. So Yeah.
And what was happening now with you and your confidence in school?
With my confidence in school, now it reflected in my grades. I wasn't performing well. So I was always up or below average. So now my parents are like, you see, you're not even performing well, you know, but they did everything that they could to help me, you know, perform better. Like if it's extra tuition, they'd pay for that so that at least like my grades could go up. Yeah.
So you managed to finish high school?
I managed to finish high school because now you see, dropping out of school is not an option. It's not an option, as in you cannot even dare to think about it. So I did that, and so when I finished high school, I was in such a hurry to leave home. So I didn't take time to like go through courses and think
Driving,
of. I did that, but during that time results zilikuwa zinatake like 3 months kutokea. Yes, and by the time I finished, I was already 18. So I got an ID and then went to driving school. So when the results came out, I was in such a hurry to go to campus, so that I could move out of home, so that I could get my freedom, so that I could start life.
So you were still feeling a little stuck?
Yes, and then I wanted to do something like a course, ile everyone will know it's me now, you know. So I wanted to go to like a nice school where it will give me like a status or something. So I chose to go to Strathmore. But my points could not allow me to do the course that I wanted. So I ended up settling for BCom. So I just did that. The results I think came out in January, February. By April, I was in campus. I'd already moved out. So I was staying in a hostel, free to start living life. And yeah, just now away from my parents, I was happy, because no one, when you're at that age, you just think your parents are boring, they hate, yes, they don't know what they're talking about. So I was really excited about going to campus. Yeah.
So in campus, you mentioned earlier that you didn't make the best choice when it came to friends when you were in high school.
Yes.
So when you went to campus, did that change?
So when I went to campus again, I still had my low self-esteem. So I didn't have a lot of friends, because Strathmore is quite fancy. So I was like, oh my God, as in these kids, they're from rich families, most of them are driving cars, they have fancy phones. So I wasn't as outgoing as I should have been. If it's in class, I want to sit at the back, I don't want to participate, because I can't speak in front of everyone. In fact, I hated those lecturers who would say you do group work and then you present. As in, that would be my last unit. Because by the time I decide now to stand there and start talking, and then that those lecturers were like, everyone has to speak. So I was like, okay. But now I had friends from high school who are in different campuses. So I had a friend who was in JQuat. So now JQuat was more fun. There was
there's more freedom, no restrictions.
Yeah, no restrictions. If it's when it comes to the party life, there's no judgment. You won't be judged for the price of what you're drinking. You get. So I used to hang out there a lot. So I ended up making friends in campus who are not in my campus. So it got first year it was okay. Second year it wasn't also as bad, but it got to a point now I started hanging out with like people who you drink from Monday to Monday. Yeah. So it was, I'd skip classes. I don't want to go to those sides of my school. I'm just staying there. I miss school. I end up failing, and yeah, the results are not good. So I ended up, because I don't go to class, you're not able to meet the attendance quota, so you have to repeat your classes. So I repeated a lot of units in campus because mainly because I didn't attend the classes. But it got to a point around 2017. I had a traumatic experience, if I can say so, because I was in a
relationship that ended, and when that relationship ended, I was so broken. You know, I already didn't have an identity in me. So when things ended on this side, I was like, you know what, as in, I remember that weekend I just went and I just went on a binge, you know, I drank a real, and I didn't want to go back to school. I just wanted to stay there, be sad, and yeah.
Let it all go away.
Yeah.
So, and at this time, what is your relationship with your parents?
At this time, it's a bit not okay, because most of the times they want you to come home for the weekends, and I'm not coming. I'd say I'm coming, but I'm not coming. The other thing, they see you're not performing well in school, because you see, eventually I have to tell them that I'm failing so that they can pay for me again, you know. And when if I can start off by saying, when I chose this course, I chose it just because I wanted to be there. You get, I didn't take time to think, okay, so what do I like? Do I want to work in this field? And then again, when it came to choosing what field you wanted to major in, I chose accounts. I really sucked at math, you know. But I chose accounts because, you know, it was what people were either choosing finance or accounting. Yeah, so people would say, if you choose marketing, if you want to major in marketing, you want to be selling insurance from office to office, you know. So I ended up choosing something that I didn't like. So for me, even that extra push that you have, or the desire to make you to want to work hard, I never had that, because I don't even, no, it's just, I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah.
And what about your relationship with your brother? Did you guys talk much around that time?
No, because you see, he was also doing his own thing. So he was, you see, when you start, when you get into addiction, you start separating yourself from, you don't want to be with people who will tell you, you know, hapo utafanya poa, mbona why aren't you picking up calls, why are you doing this, why you know, you don't want anyone who will ask you questions. So you separate yourself. So I separated myself. My mom used to call me, I don't pick up. My dad calls me, I don't. I was just that kind of child, very rude. I didn't care, you know. It was, yeah, so it was not nice.
Okay. And then what was a normal day for you like?
So sometimes I used to go to school. So I'd have these phases where I'd be like, now this is the week that I'll finally focus on school. So I'd have my good weeks where I'd go to classes, but just something small would happen to me. And let's say I've gone to school from Monday to Friday, and then I make the mistake of going to drink on Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as in now, it will be a cycle that would be so hard for me to break, unless now I run out of money, you get? That's when I'd be like, hey, okay, maybe now I can go home, maybe now I can call my dad, you know, something like that, yeah. But it was not always, but drinking was a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the drug that you're abusing was alcohol specifically?
Yes, I tried weed, but it wasn't it wasn't working for me. Yeah, yeah, it was not my best. Yeah.
Okay. And so how did you know that now this is an addiction? At what point could you not stay away?
So for me, it was more of a coping mechanism. Like I knew that when I couldn't, I don't want to say emotionally, I wouldn't function without alcohol. Like I would be so sad, and the thing that I would think about was just drinking, you know. I wouldn't think of talking about to anyone or asking for help. But then I told you I was supposed to graduate in 2018. So it got to a point I moved back home, and so I'm just looking at my friends' life, like the friends that we were drinking with, most of them have graduated. Because you see, now it's a public university.
Yeah.
It's easier, if I can say so, as they might not go for classes, or but they'll, at the end of the day,
they still managed to graduate.
Yes, they still managed to graduate. But now me, we were there. I wasn't thinking of. I was just thinking about here. So when I moved back home, I was so sad, because I'm thinking, yani I'm back at my parents' house. I can't even look for a job because I don't have the papers. I don't have anything to show for myself. Since 2014 to 2019, 2020, I have nothing to show for my life. I'm just there. The best I've done is just drinking, you know. So one day I decided, I woke up and then I told my parents that I'm going to school, of which I did. But then when I got there, because of the fact that I was unable to graduate year after year, I really resented that school. I mean, I'll just get there and then in a choker too. You know, I was just like, this place, to me in my eyes, it was the place that I was not able to move to the next level, yeah.
To achieve the goals that you had set.
Yes, people are supposed to graduate, but me, I'm not graduating. So in fact, every class that I went to, I didn't know anyone because they are all new people. The people that I knew when we were joining, they'd all finished. So I was really sad. I went to school, but then I looked for a friend. We started drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So every time my mom would call me, I'd be like, nakuja kesho, but I wouldn't come. So I'd gone to my friend's place, and then she had just moved out from home. It was a very beautiful house, you know, and she'd gotten a job. So in my head, I'm thinking, as in, why can't...
These are real goals.
Yeah, why can't this happen for me? So in my head, I'm just like, as in, I just hate myself. I hate life. I don't want to live. Every morning when I used to wake up, I just like, like, I'm still here. As in, why can't I just die? I really want to.
So there was a lot of sadness.
Yes, I was very sad. I really hated life. I really hated my life, if I can say so. So I was staying at my friend's place, and I finally decided that I left home on Friday. On Tuesday, I decided that I'll go home. But then, so we woke up in the morning.
So this is after the many times that you kept saying, I'm coming, and you don't show up.
Yeah, I don't show up.
Okay.
So she was going to work. So I told her, we can wake up early in the morning. As you go to work, I also go to school. I try and, because also I had issues with school and incompleted units that I needed to clear up with. So I decided I'll go to school as she goes to work. So I went to school, but I wasn't successful in doing what I wanted to do. So I decided, let me just go home because I don't have money, and then I've overstayed at my friend's place. So I decided before I go home, let me just look for someone I can drink with, at least, because I know if I come home, I'll get a lecture, where have you been? And then that atmosphere of, as in, ashaanza tena, you know, like hizi tabia zake za kuhepa home. So I didn't want to face that when I was not. Yeah. So I went, I got a friend, we were drinking. So as we were drinking, I started crying. So then I broke down, ile kabisa, like I'm crying, ile serious, they're asking me what's wrong. I'm just telling them, I hate my life, I just don't want to be here. So in my head, I'm thinking, if I go home, I don't want to wake up. I'm going to kill myself if I go home. And if I go home, but I don't want to do it in my parents' house. I didn't want to do that to them. They wake up and then they find, someone is not in their own home. So I was thinking, now where can I go kill myself? Can I just go and jump out from a building somewhere? I fall, I die, you know. That's what I was just. But then it just clicked in my mind. I needed to go somewhere that I can just relax. So I remembered I'd seen a testimonial about some lady who had gone to Teen Challenge. So I decided to look for their number. I looked for their number and I asked them, can someone just check themselves in? And then they were like, yeah, sure. I was like, can I come today? They were like, yes. By this time it was like 5 p.m. So when I was getting there, because I was in Kawa West, when I was getting the Teen Challenge in Kiambu, when I got there, it was like 9:30. So when I got there, I started breaking down again. I'm just crying. And then they're like, as in, what's up? Are you okay? They were so worried because now you see this is a rehab. It's a rehab center. All ladies. So that they're scared something might have happened to me. Someone hurt me. So they had to calm me down first and ask me, like, is everything okay? You know, and then all I could say was, I'm just, you know, I feel like I'm going crazy.
And we'll talk about the rehab part in the second part of the interview. So at that point is when you realized that you really wanted to change your life the way it was at that time.
Yes, but at that moment I didn't know that I really needed to stop drinking or anything. At just moment, I just wanted to stop feeling the way I was feeling. You know, I felt like there was an emptiness in my heart that no one understood, and if someone didn't help me to understand what was going on, I would surely die. I would surely die. That was my desire. I wanted to die. So me being there, I just credit it to God. Yeah, because no one took me there. I went by myself. In fact, when I got there, they asked me for my mom's number, and then they called my mom. So when my mom came the next day, she was like, as in she was so shocked. She was like, "Are you sure this is the place you want to be?" In a rehab, I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm going crazy, yeah, because they didn't know how I felt emotionally.
Yeah.
To them, they just saw the outward thing.
How the inside is manifesting itself outside.
Yes, they just saw the drinking and the running away from home. They never knew how this not graduating was affecting me, how my view of life was. They never knew all that, so they were really, really shocked. Yeah.
Okay, and I want us to take a break, a breather. You have a very beautiful compound, so then we'll come back after the break. We're taking a short break here on Why I Did It, but we'll be back with Angela as she talks to us about her journey through alcohol addiction. What happened next? Find out after the break. Welcome back. You are watching Why I Did It right here on Look Up TV, and we want you to share with us your stories of transformation using the SMS number 20374. And now the story of Angela continues. We have changed the scenery because now we want to understand why she decided to turn her life around. Yes, so Angela,
Yeah.
you have gone to rehab.
Yes.
You're at the gate, you've been welcomed and you're crying.
Yes.
So let's just take it from there.
So I get in and I'm just bawling again, and they helped me to calm down, and then they just wanted to understand where is this lady coming from right now at night. She's alone. They've never seen that. Most people when they're taken to rehab, they're lied to, twende tukasalimie nani, we're having a family meeting, but then this one, you know, they were so worried. So the only thing that I could tell them, I was just like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like, you know, I don't want to live anymore. So they just helped me to calm down. They showed me around. They took me to the room where I took a shower, and then they just told me to sleep, because you see, at this point I was still high, and so nothing could be done at that point apart from me sleeping. But they spoke to my mom. My mom was so worried because she'd never heard of the place. How do you just call her in the middle of the night and tell her your daughter is in rehab? Should we admit her? So
you went and what? Checked in yourself?
Yes. Yeah, I just showed. I didn't
You
even.
showed up.
Yes, I just showed up. I didn't know like how long the program was, or what. I just wanted to be somewhere. So
Because you knew deep down that you needed help.
Yes.
Whatever you were going through at that time.
Yes, because I also didn't understand at this point, as in that experience had never happened to me, where you have that strong urge of, you know, I don't want to be alive, I want to die, and it was just an overwhelming sense of sadness and not wanting to live. I didn't have any willpower. So the next day, my mom came in the morning. She was, you know, do you want to be here? As in, is this what you want for your life? Because they did, like I told you, they didn't know what I was feeling on the inside. So I explained to her. I just told her, I just need some time. I need some time. And they supported me with my dad. They told me, stay here as long as you want, get the help that you need. And then now with time, when I was in the program, that's how I started explaining to them, I was not in a good headspace. I eventually came out and told them, I'm not even anywhere close to graduating, because I told them I'm graduating last year, 2020, in June. So, and then you see, I had like a project that was supposed to do for 6 months, so that was basically impossible.
So you came clean.
Yeah, I came clean about everything, and now I came clean about my drinking, that I've been drinking to suppress my emotions. And they're like, my mom asked me, so how long do you want to stay here? I said, I want to stay for 1 month. And then she was like, you can't stay for 1 month because you won't get any help. If you want help, stay for at least 3 months. And Teen Challenge offers a 1-year program. So I was like, there's no way I'm staying here for 1 year, Yeah, I'm like,
you knew that you wanted to change, but again,
yes,
it just seemed like too much.
Yeah, I'm like thinking, this is too much. So I told my mom, we agreed even that first day, even with my dad, I'm staying for 3 months. So I stayed there. It's a faith-based rehabilitation center. So every day they used to have chapel. We used to have chapel, and I've been born and raised Catholic. So having this Pentecostal thing of singing and praying, I was like, God, as in, hapa nataka help. This is and then I was so skeptical because I went to a Catholic high school, but when I was in high school, I knew that I wasn't going to stay Catholic forever because my heart was not at peace. I just knew this is not the church for me. But then when I came out, there were so many scandals. That's when these funny churches of, I don't want to mention the names, but, these scandals of pastors. So I was always skeptical about churches and the Pentecostal church. Yes. So I was very skeptical about these churches. But then when I got there, I was like, okay, it's not so bad.
So what is your first day in rehab like?
My first day in rehab, I was still crying. My mom came the next day and I cried like half the day because, at the same time, I'm like, okay, sasa hapa ndio my life has imenifikisha. Like in rehab, seriously, like of all places, I'm in rehab. And then in my mind, I was like, my drinking is not that bad. You get. So my first day was just me crying and trying to come up with, trying to come and be like, okay, sawa, just trying to calm myself down. But then with time, I started to adjust.
So what about when you're being told about, this is what the program looks like? This is the time you wake up, because there's obviously routines in a rehab.
When you get there, the first 2 weeks, they give you like a grace period. So I could sleep as much as I wanted. But then at that time, I didn't have any sleep because my mind is still all over the place. Emotionally, I'm still broken. So I didn't get any sleep the first 2 weeks. But when I started settling in, that's when the sleep started coming in. But with time, for me, the schedule of the program didn't bother me as much because the more I stayed there, the more I got saved. I started to realize that I started to have a relationship with God. I didn't know who God was. The way I've been brought up, Catholics, you're so used to, this is the way you do it, like such a program. So I didn't even know how to pray. I didn't know who Jesus was. You're just used to that narrative, but it doesn't click in your head. So when I started to build a relationship with Christ, because I remember the day that I got saved, there was the person who was preaching was like, I don't remember even the preaching, but when she was doing the altar call, she said, if there's anyone who wants to be saved, you can come, we'll pray for you. Jesus does not condemn. Yani those words hit me and I started crying again, like that first day. I'm like, what? He doesn't, I don't know what, I just felt like those were the words for me. He does not condemn me. So I decided to get saved. But at that time, I was like, I was still on that newbie Christian high, But then with time, I started to seek God, like genuinely. I would go to him. I have a specific incident where I went and cried to him about something specific. And in less than 3 days, I got the answer. No one was there when I was praying, But it happened in a way that I knew that God is the one who, you know, and He's the one who brought me there, because the way it happened, as in, I can't.
It was very divine.
Yes, if I can say so. So yeah, it was an experience, a necessary experience for me to be there.
And for a lot of people, they think a lot of people who are addicts, they think that they're never bad enough to go to rehab.
Yeah.
So what can you say about that?
The first step to healing is you have to admit and acknowledge that you have a problem. You cannot treat something that doesn't have a name. Even when you go to the hospital, you tell the doctor the symptoms.
You get a diagnosis.
Yes, you get a diagnosis, and then once you accept it, that's when they start treating you. So like even me, I used to be like, I'm not like bad as nani mwenye analala kwa mtaro ama mwenye akona shakes or whatever, But at the end of the day, I didn't know how to. What was I running into? I was always running into alcohol, and that was a problem. You're not supposed to function like that. So don't be scared to ask for help, because we're all human. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's you own up to to what you've done. You just accept yourself the way you are, then you move forward, because your family is always willing to help you, because addiction doesn't affect you only, it affects everyone that is around you. Like I was not giving my parents peace when I'm not home. Of course they don't sleep well knowing they don't know where their daughter is with this high rise in cases. In fact, there's a time my dad told me, like, you're not picking up, and the way ladies are being murdered left, right and center, what do you want me to think? So just think about yourself. You want a better life for yourself and for your family. Yeah.
And when you're at rehab, you had been in addiction for a while.
Yeah.
Before that, how long was that?
If I can say from 2014. Yeah.
So a couple of years.
Yes.
So then here you are, and you wake up and go to chapel.
Yes.
So were there any withdrawal symptoms? Did you ever feel the urge to just have one bottle once?
Yes. The first few months, yes, because it was my coping mechanism, But now you're sober, you get to think about so many things, and then the first thing that you want to do is what you're used to, and that's running to alcohol. But now I had to learn to run to God. You get that? Now that became my coping mechanism.
You were given an alternative.
Yes. And there you're told that we don't do the 12 steps, You're told Jesus is the only answer. They don't force Christ on you, but with time, yeah,
They expose you
yes,
to
he will just show himself to you, as in, and then again, there's so many people who've been through the program, like Kabochi, like he's a walking testimony. When you see someone like that, and then you see your life and what you've missed, it's only by the grace of God that it wasn't you. So you start to realize, hey, okay, so it's this, because me, I used to be like, being saved is so boring and so old-fashioned, and it can never be me. That's what I used to tell myself. But then I realized, well, okay, now he's the only solution now. If I don't run to him, I'm going to be dead. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you would take us through how the program was, because they're not just treating the alcohol addiction.
Yeah.
There's a reason behind the addiction.
Yeah.
So how did you go around it?
So we normally have some classes and some modules that you do as a group and personally. So those are the ones that help me to identify the issues that I had with me. Of course, you don't drink just, no one starts drinking. There has to be a reason, a root cause. And for me, one of them was like low self-esteem. I lacked an identity. I lacked roots. So if you tell me, let's go, I would go. I wouldn't even stop to think. And I started now loving myself, if I can say so, seeing myself as someone who's capable, someone who's loved, and I didn't have to go with the crowd to please someone, you get, and I didn't have to please everyone. So mostly for me, it was the self-esteem that I needed to work on, or which I worked on, and yeah, just healing from like the heartbreaks of life. I had to heal from that also, and yeah, just building my life in Christ now.
Okay. And the relationship there was a little strained. between you and your family.
Yeah.
So how did you mend that?
So with time, when they first I told my mom, I got saved. She was very excited. My mom was just happy that now her daughter has decided to go to Leah, because I was just all over the place. So when we normally have like family therapy, so when they would come, we'd discuss some issues, and also when they visit you, you start discussing the issues, and now they start to see you changing, you're different. And the fact that you decided to do the program, I guess that's one sign of change that they see. And they see how, because it's not easy staying there for 1 year. So when they see your commitment, they're like, okay, yeah, now I guess she's ready to change. So even then they start feeling happy, and they, slowly by slowly, if I can say, God just has his ways of doing it. And then you see, like, they're not so angry as they used to be. They've forgiven you, and it's only God that can give them the grace to be able to, because I've done so many things that that would warrant me not to be here even today. My parents could have disowned me, but they haven't, and they were able to forgive me for even the wasted money.
All those school years.
All those school years, yeah. But yeah, I got that forgiveness, and with time we've been working on, and it's always, I always pray to God to enable me to be a good daughter to my parents and a good sister to my brother, because I don't want to lose that, the joy that I have with them now, the peace that you can come home, people are happy, people are not, those days you'd come home and people are just like, you're too much now, to stress kutosha. But now the peace that I have with them, the joy, as in, that's one thing that pushes me. Yeah.
And how did you get to forgive yourself? There's a lot of things that you have done, and there's a lot of wasted money, as you had said. So all of these things, how did you get to be at peace with yourself?
For me, honestly, that was like one of the hardest things that I was unable to do, like to forgive myself. It took so much time, like almost 6 months into the program. I was still beating myself up, still feeling guilty for the things that I used to do. But again, I went to the Bible, and you see, God does not condemn, So if God is not condemning me, he's forgiven me for all that I've done. He knows it, and he wants me to, he has given me a new chance at life. I cannot change the past, so I had to keep on reminding myself, I cannot change the past, but I can do something about my future. So if I keep on remembering and beating myself up about my past, I cannot be able to work hard to live the future that I'm supposed to live. So with time and through using a lot of prayer, and by God's grace, I was able to start letting go of my past and forgiving myself, loving myself, telling myself that I'm awesome. Like these days, I don't wait for you to tell me that you love me, The love that I'm getting from Christ and by myself, it's enough, and just having that grounding, it really helped. Yeah.
And how would you say your esteem is right now?
It's not 100, but I know I'm not the worst. I know I'm not, because I used to tell myself like I can't be able to do this. Like even if there's an opportunity ahead, I'd be like, you go for it, but me, I won't go for it. These days, I have to keep on reminding myself. I like, even when doing my project that I'm working on, I remind myself, you can do this through the tears. I'm like, you can do this. As in, I just have to keep on reminding myself, I am enough.
So there's great progress already, and there's still more that can be done.
Yes.
Okay, so you managed to get through the whole program at Rehab.
Yes.
So here you are, you're now going to, the world doesn't change.
Yes.
The world remains the same. So if there used to be that corner that sells alcohol, it's still over there.
Yeah.
So when you're getting out, how did you feel that you're going back now to your hood and everything?
So I was nervous, but the first thing that I did, I changed my number. so that I could limit the access of the people that have to me access, because now I didn't want to risk someone just like, yo, where have you been for 1 year? So you come out to hang. You know, you're not as strong as you think.
Yeah.
You just can't go at now I'm going to go to the bar. As you guys drink, me, I'll have my soda. You'll drink the soda the first time, but the next time you'll be taking the shot. So
And especially because you have been in those shows before.
Yes. So I had to push away the big, those people that I used to drink. And by changing my number, that was one. And then another thing that helped me, I never used to drink from here, so I don't have friends around here. Yeah, so because most of the time I used to run away from here to go drink somewhere else. So being here has also helped. But again, like the way you said, the world doesn't change, you're the one who changes. So I just think about what I will lose if I go back to that life. And the peace that I have now, boy, compared to the lack of peace that I had then, oh my God, I don't think I would give that up for anything. Anything, don't think I would give it up. So I hold my sobriety like this, and I treasure it, I value it, so I don't do things that would compromise my sobriety.
Okay, so there has not been any episode of a relapse?
No.
So then what's the difference between people who relapse and those who don't? Is it the foundation?
It's the foundation that when you're in your sobriety journey, first of all, you have to change the way you're thinking. If you're on that sobriety journey and you're thinking you can still go hang out with your drinking friends and you won't drink, my friend, you're on the wrong place. You're not thinking right. It starts up here, in your mind. Again, because you see, even the way you see yourself, it's all in your head. You see? Even the Bible says, I do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So you have to constantly keep on changing the way you think, and you have to stop hanging out with the people that you used to hang out, the places. If it means moving to a different place, move, because at the end of the day, your sobriety cannot be bought. It is bought with your own life. So many people have not been fortunate to. They keep on relapsing because there are so many issues that they've not worked on. When you're given that chance in rehab to stay there, it's not just passing time. It's time to discover yourself, what you like, what is hurting me so much that I can't stand to be sober. So if you're not ready to face your issues and deal with them, get the necessary help that you need. Definitely you're going to relapse if you don't deal with the issues.
And one of the issues that you were facing is largely mental health.
Yes.
And it's a discussion that Kenyans are now starting to be open about.
Yeah.
But the progress, what do you think about it?
So I think majorly people have always been ashamed to come out and say that I need help. I come out and tell you, I'm struggling with anxiety. Is it normal? As in, people will make you feel like, usijali, ni normal. We have this like stigma. People don't want you to say, I have a problem, I'm not okay. People, that was the society that we were living in. But now I'm happy that people, many people are coming out and saying, I'm struggling with depression, I'm struggling with anxiety, and there are people who are ready and willing to help. So don't be scared to ask for help, because everyone needs help. You can't make it without any help. Yeah. So,
and your family has been very instrumental in this process. So how important is the place of the family for recovering addicts?
So the family plays a major role, because you see, at the end of the day, blood is thicker than water, you see, and your family, they have the best interest for you at heart. So it's very important that even when the family members see that this person has a problem, they're ready to go to rehab. Don't be that person who's always reminding that person, unakumbuka ulituibia nini, unakumbuka ulifanya. Don't be that person, just let it go. And be supportive in any way that you can, and mostly don't remind the person about the past, because that becomes so hurtful. Like now, maybe I give an example of myself. I can be out of rehab and then someone be like, hey, nasimeka kabla hujamaliza shule, you get and that's a family member, and maybe that's a trigger for me. So you should be careful about what you say to this person, you know. Just be instrumental, be cautious, because at the same time we are very sensitive. I'm just 3 months out, but I don't say I'm the strongest. No, I'm still sensitive. I still need my family to hold my hand, because where am I supposed to go to if not to you? You get? So they should also aim at knowing how this person's journey is. You can speak to their counselors, you can get family therapy together. That can really help, so that you know, how am I supposed to help this person? Maybe I'm the person who enables this person to drink. You get? So
there's always that possibility.
Yes, don't think that only this person needs the therapy. All of you need counseling, you know, family therapy. It
So
really
the support goes without saying.
Because many enablers are from our families.
Okay, and maybe finally, so what does the future look like for Angela? School, sobriety journey.
Yes. So the future, I can say, is very bright. By God's grace, I know I'll be graduating this year. Finally, after a long journey. And also looking into going to do my passion. I'm really passionate about the kitchen. So yeah, I really love being in the kitchen, cooking, baking. So something is in the works for that. And also
the channel maybe as well.
Yes.
Okay.
If I if God gives me the grace. And also I really like to go into, you know, the mental health education, and to help people out there who need the help, and to help them identify the issues that they may have, to be able to tell many people that, you know, these days there's so much, the drinking life, the partying life has been gratified so much in society. Now if you're not drinking, you know, you're not kochini sasa, you know. I just want young people to know that's not the life. You get? It's not the life. Social media is not the life. There's so many lies. Like itafika place, you can't even post what you're drinking, because what you're drinking, my friend, and everyone expects you to drink, you know, the fancy liquors, you know. I just want to help people, you know, spread the word and tell them that having Jesus in your life is so cool. It's the best thing it's the best decision that you can ever make. And he's the only one who can give you that peace of mind that you need, that void that you're feeling. You need to fill with drinking and partying and, you know, people. He'll help you fill that void, and he will show you the direction that you need to take in your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe mentorship and that line of being a pastor. Now that maybe you could think of pursuing that as well.
Maybe if I haven't had the call yet, but if I will submit.
I think inakuja. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you too. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Yeah.
And that very heartfelt conversation with Angela Mombi is one that has brought to focus the issue of mental health as a root cause to the mainly drug and substance addiction. And that is a conversation that we must continue to have in a different environment. I am Nancy Melina. Thank you for watching.